So now we're really doing science. We are really helping people, and that's fun. That's really exciting. So how do we scale this? How do we take this and scale it? To me, this is the easy part, at least conceptually. It looks like this. This is GSE's first global surgery scholar. This is the future of global surgery. This is how you scale it, by training, empowering, and fostering the next generation of global surgery, of humanitarian leaders. But that's where the easy stops, because we have to figure out a bridge for two vastly incomplete models of global surgery training where it exists, which is very rarely. On the one side, putting people on planes, sending them abroad for a week, having them watch a bunch of surgeries, say, man, that was really sad. That country doesn't have a lot of resources, but no formal training. And on the other hand, general public health training, not focused on global surgery, without any practical hands-on experience. The solution? A novel 6-month curriculum teaching learners the core tenets of global surgery, how to practice this work, culminating in an experiential trip at the end of their training. Teaching them how to do this work meaningfully, sustainably, impactfully, and build it into their careers. When you do that, it looks like this. This is what scaling looks like. And this is what scaling sounds like.
So I had the pleasure of joining GSE as a trainee in a trip to Belize when I was a senior resident.
So I went on a trip back in September of 2021.
The trip that I went on was to Belize, and that was in 2016.
My trip was actually the first trip after the pandemic hit.
For GSE trip, we went to Belize City.
So GSE really has 4 pillars to its programming, one of which is the educational. And the goal overall for the educational pillar is to create and really foster the next generation of global surgery and humanitarian leaders. And that's a large task. Global surgery is really expansive. It's certainly part medicine and science. The science of surgery is something that students and residents learn throughout many years of medical school and residency training, to be sure. But now they have to learn to do it in a different way without the resources that they've been accustomed to.
I think many of us are especially in reconstructive surgery, are perfectionists in general. But when you're in a place that doesn't, you can't give blood transfusions. There's no ICU, and so the threshold for error or anything going wrong is even lower than it is here. And so it's nice to slow down and focus and see how the technique has changed.
So really what you have to do is, in a way, deconstruct what they've learned and teach them to do it in a different way. But it's also much more diverse than that. It's part history, teaching them about colonialism and the health disparities throughout the world and why we are where we're at. It's part leadership, teaching them how to inspire and engage a team of volunteers and also collaborate with local healthcare providers and administrators to deliver that care.
About half of our trip that I went on back in 2021 was centered around meeting with various health officials. Before I did that, I had a pretty superficial understanding of what it meant to provide global surgery.
It's also part psychology, teaching them how to engage and deliver care in different cultures. It's part research. The research that we do is trying to understand how we deliver care in these settings with more impact and more sustainability.
Well, one of the projects that I was involved with as a fellow on my second trip to Belize was sitting with the family members. So I spent a lot of my time in the waiting room of the clinic during that trip. And I had detailed conversations with the family members about the personal and the financial impacts of the patient's medical conditions. We were able to present that at a national meeting and also soon to be published to really educate the world on the type of dramatic impact that urological conditions can have on people's financial well-being.
Those of us who do this work will tell you all it took was one trip. So we start with exposure for young learners through our GSC student and resident scholarships to participate in these trips.
We get comfortable in our own little worlds, and I think it's a good thing to see how different things are done in different places. And I think they do a great job of that, exposing you to different avenues of how to help people.
I appreciated when we were down there that Dr. Rapp and Dr. Bradford, the level of respect that they gave me.
What I saw over the course of a week in Belize was far more varied and far more advanced than what we see at a typical tertiary care center, which is, to put that in context, somewhere where patients in the United States get sent when they have advanced conditions that need a higher level of care. We were seeing that with most of the patients who were walking in the door in Belize.
But that's the tip of the iceberg. And this is where I really think that GSE is doing something unique and different. We really want to supplement that experience with longitudinal formal training for these learners. And for our most committed learners, it takes place in the Global Health Leadership Track, which is a 2-year program where we really teach in depth the details and the workings of global surgery.
I've touched on that, 90% of the work is both before and after a surgical trip. Both my participation in GSE and the Global Health Leadership Track has been really helpful in allowing me to understand those things.